Today we're back working on a 92 Silverado again. This time, repairing some fuel line. Now, I'd rather do it myself because you save a ton of money, and I just like working on my own stuff. So you take something like this to a mechanic, don't matter if it's a small leak, big leak, they're going to want to replace the entire thing. It means the feed line all the way to the motor, return line all the way back to the tank, all of it. And they're going to get it pre-bent. That way it's easier for them, but it still costs more for you for the product. And you're paying for all that labor. Just something to think about. Anyways, let's take a look underneath. Alright, we're underneath here, and you can see all the fuel lines, some brake lines as well. But there's your fuel filter, and we're going to replace the feed line from the back of the fuel filter, and it goes all the way up into a rubber hose. We're going to replace that whole section from the hose to the filter. And then the return line, which there's a rubber hose on the other side of this one that'll connect into the return line, and it rails right above the feed line, and we'll connect it up here. So we're replacing basically this section to here, and then from here back to the fuel filter. The feed line is going to be a 3/8. The return line is going to be a 5/16. And then, since we're already down here, we're going to go ahead and just replace the fuel filter, since I don't know if it's ever been replaced or when it's been replaced, and they don't cost that much, so might as well go ahead and do it since we're already down here and disconnecting lines from it. So let's go ahead and go inside and take a look at the parts we've got for this. Alright, these are the parts we'll be using today. The fuel filter is a K&N, part number PF1000. They actually use that on quite a bit of different vehicles and whatnot. But you'd want to double check and make exact sure if it'd be the right one for yours. But we'll be using that one. When you do put it on, it's got a flow direction, so technically when we hook it up, we'll have it flip this way towards the front of the vehicle, and then that would actually connect to this one, which is your 3/8 feed line. And you can tell it just basically screws right in there, but this has a little rubber piece, and that's what actually seals it, so you don't have to put any thread sealer on or anything. Steel line, and it actually comes with compression fittings if you're going to run it to another steel line. But in our case, we're running it to a rubber hose. So what we're going to be doing is flaring the end of it so that when we put the hose on there and use the hose clamps, it'll hold better. And I've actually got a previous video of how to flare brake lines. If you watch that, it'll show you how to flare lines, and you could actually apply that to this. Then the other line is the 5/16. Same setup. And then we're going to do the exact same thing on this end over here, flare it so that we can hook it to the rubber hose. But this end will be going into the fitting that actually sits above the fuel filter. Now underneath the vehicle, the fuel lines actually bend a little bit, so we're going to have to bend these, which is why I recommend getting a tube bender. You can get one of these at Harbor Freight for $7.99, and you've got your different degrees at which you can bend them. You'll run your metal pipe in here, and you can actually see where it'll rail down inside of there, and it'll come down through here, and you just keep bending it to whatever degree you might need. And the item number for this at Harbor Freight is 03755. So let's go ahead and put all this on the vehicle, get it rolling. So we ran into a bit of an issue underneath there. The fittings wouldn't come off. The fitting on this end of the filter wouldn't come off. So we basically just took it off at the hose clamp back here and bought a 4-inch piece that was barbed on this end for a hose connection. And then down here is basically the same fitting would fit in there. So that little piece there is like $3. No big deal. And then this piece was so rusted that it actually wouldn't come undone either. So I just went ahead and went back to the back and took off the hose back here. So instead of using the existing pipe that I had bought for it for the 5/16 return line, I just went ahead and bought a whole spool of 5/16. This stuff right here. Pretty good stuff. I got plenty of it. I think it was about 25 feet. Cost like $15. So just went ahead and got that out, bent it so that it would match pretty close to these ones, and then got everything installed. So let's take a look underneath here. You can see where they hook up, where they go to and from the motor. Got the hose clamps there. And then they bend very, very closely to how the original ones did. And then this one just goes into its hose right here. That's the return line. And then this one here is the feed line. You can see where it just goes in where it was there. And there's that little addition. And then that's pretty much it. It actually turned out pretty easy to do and a little time consuming doing the bending with the pipe bender, but definitely worth doing it yourself, so you know what's going on down there, and save you a lot of money, because they redo the whole thing on your vehicle. You're looking about $800-900. So leave some comments, let me know what you think. If you have any questions, just ask. I'll do the best I can to explain anything. And smash that like button and subscribe. I appreciate you checking out the video. Thank you. A mechanic, they're going to want to replace the whole fuel line. Even if it's just a small section. They're going to want to do it all. The feed line to the motor and the return line all the way to the tank. Not only that, but they're going to get the pre-bent stuff. Stuff that they can just throw in there. It's already bent, ready to go. And it costs you more money. Seriously.